Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Basketball Bulletin. I'm Trevor Lane. Happy to have you all here. Thought we'd take a little bit of time and break down some of the winners and losers from the NBA trade deadline. Plus, we need to talk about the buyout market, which is already heating up. Number of players hitting free agency off the buyout market. We'll get into that. My guy, Donnie Freeman, will be on shortly. Trev must be tired from all the streams. I am, but this is it for me today. This is the final one. And then I'm going to, until tonight, I'm going to pre-record. It's not going to be a live stream, though. I'm going to pre-record tomorrow's podcast for Lakers and Warriors. But this is it for me for today. We got a lot of stuff to get into. That's right. Welcome in. It's like a party. We're going to hang out here, talk some NBA basketball, talk some buyout market, talk trade deadline. All right. Let's get into it. Trev doesn't sleep. He's a robot. Yeah, I need to sleep more. I do. It's something I work on that after the trade deadline passes on. Now I can start to work on that. All right, let's talk about some winners and losers at the trade deadline. Then we'll get into the buyout market and who's out there, who could be targeted, where it would make sense for them to wind up, all that sort of stuff. But let's start here with the winners of the trade deadline. I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Look, I've been very upfront about how I feel about what the Cavs did. I love the addition of James Harden to the Cavs, and it's not just a on-court thing. I think they got the better player in James Harden compared to Darius Garland, and I think that this is a great move financially as well for them. I think this is going to set them up to drop below the second apron if they so choose. And so I think the Cavs, when we look at their roster, we look at their potential here. They have I believe, higher ceiling now with the moves that they made. I mean, you took a guy who was a negative-ish value contract in DeAndre Hunter. You turned him into Keon Ellis, a guy who literally half the NBA wanted, plus Dennis Schroeder, who's a very good, proven veteran guard who has won on big stages before. And you got James Harden, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer, no question. Is he a little long in the tooth? Yes, a little long in the beard as well. But with him comes a lot of financial flexibility for next season with just $13 million on the books. And for this season, I think he's a better player than Darius Garland and healthier than Darius Garland. Now, Harden has had his playoff issues for sure. And that's not to say he's the perfect fit next to Donovan Mitchell. But I think this makes a lot of sense to the point where I have the Cavs as a winner. Joining me, it's Donnie Freeman. Donnie, you didn't know I was going to bring you on right then.
I did not. I was mid-drink and everything.
Well, happy to have you here. It is White Hat Fridays apparently around here.
Is that white?
Yeah, look at this. We're coordinated, man.
No, yours looks beige from here.
It is a little beige. It's kind of like a creamish color, I guess. It's not the white. I've got another one that's like the white version. But anyway, black hoodies, white hats. That's how we're rocking today. Mm-hmm. So we're just looking at some winners and losers for the trade deadline. Then we're going to get into the buyout market. I just explained why I have the Cavs as a winner, but the Thunder didn't really do a lot. They got Jared McCain. That's a good move, right, by the Oklahoma City Thunder. But do you know why, Donnie, I have the Thunder as a big winner at the trade deadline?
Yeah, because the Clippers decided to trade two of their three best players.
The Clippers traded their best players away, and now you've got the Thunder with the Clippers pick. Now, I don't know if the Clippers are going to fall out of the play-in in the West.
Yeah.
Because who's catching? Portland might catch them because Portland is legitimately trying to win. But is Memphis, Dallas, the Jazz, the Pels, are any of those teams catching the Clippers? I would say probably not. I don't think they want to.
No. Yeah, all those teams probably don't want to anyway. So no, I think unless something crazy happens with an injury and they just have to bottom out, and by default, that means the next best team would just kind of get pushed up, right? Mm-hmm. I think this is our field. Regardless of whether or not it gets jumbled up. Maybe the Lakers are in the play. Maybe they're the second seed, for example. I don't know, but this is our 10, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Now, if we look at things as they sit right now, the Clippers would be forking over the 11th pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder in the draft. That's not ideal, Donnie. That's not ideal. Correct. Is the Clippers pick protected? No.
No.
So if that 2% chance at going number one overall, or that 9.4% chance of going top four hits, then the Thunder, the rich get richer.
Yeah, and did you already talk about McCain and the comments there?
No, what comments?
Daryl Morey, you didn't see his
Oh,
comments?
yes, I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah.
That teams in the East are getting better. The idea that teams in the East are getting
not
better
that
is
one.
wrong.
No. He said, yeah, that too, which is I think pretty interesting. It's a shot at like Harden and stuff. But with McCain, he said, frankly, he thought that they sold high.
Oh,
I was like, wow, why would you even say that? Like, that's such a douche thing to say. Like, why would you say that?
yeah, you're supposed to say like it was a very difficult decision, but we just felt like this was the right decision for us. Philly got a 2026 first, which is very late, a 2027 second, and two 2028 seconds for Jared McCain.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, he said, I'm quite confident we were selling high on Jared McCain.
So they think worse days are ahead. When a guy leaves your team, you're supposed to say good things about him. You're not supposed to say we're selling high because this guy's going to suck.
Yeah.
And that's basically what he said.
Yeah, like I mean, maybe it's an out of context quote because you know how the aggregation can be online sometimes, but yeah, I think he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he wasn't able to perform the way he was last year this season, coming off the injury and all that stuff. But if he hits even remotely, OKC got one there.
Yeah, and OKC already could win big by the Clippers.
Yep.
But the Clippers were the hottest team in the NBA, while them are the Hornets, and now that's derailed. They're not. I mean, there was thought that the Clippers may even work their way all the way up to the playoffs. That seems to be done now with the way things are with that team. So the Thunder are a big winner. And not everyone will agree, I have the Wizards a winner. They got players that they typically would not have access to in Trae Young and Anthony Davis. And they didn't give up, I think, significantly valuable draft capital to do it. They gave up roster flexibility. They gave up cap room for the future. But what were they going to be spending? Were they going to find anyone better than Anthony Davis? Anyone better than Trae Young out there on the market? I mean, they were rumored to maybe be a suitor for Austin Reeves. And we'll talk about that in a minute too. But obviously they're out on that now because they've used up their cap space. But I like the Wizards going and adding guys that the rest of the market says, well, you're good players, but you're a little bit overpaid, so we're not interested. The Wizards went, we don't care if they're a little bit overpaid. We've got tons of room. So why not us overpay a little bit, and we'll get guys that we know are good NBA players.
What do you think about the reports on AD and, the extension and all that stuff?
Well, that's the big, what does the extension come in at?
Well, they were saying that they're not going to, I think it was Chris Mannix. He was saying that AD isn't very happy about this and that he isn't going to get paid there. So.
Well, they really think he's not going to get paid?
I guess so. I don't know why the Hawks would trade for him, or the Hawks, the Wizards would trade for him if they're not going to pay him, though.
Yeah, that's true. Now maybe they're telling him he won't do full max contract,
which is understandable.
Which I wouldn't either. But I mean, that was the whole point of why there were reports that Anthony Davis was going to try to leave Dallas. It was just because he wanted to get to a team that could pay him. And that's it. And that was what was obviously, pushing that. Here it is. I don't believe they're going to give him a contract extension. I've been told he's not loving this. I'm telling you, I don't see a contract extension coming. I think they're open to that with Trae Young. I don't think they're open to a contract extension with Anthony Davis. Okay. I had not seen that. If that is indeed the case, you know what? I still don't hate it. Because he's under contract next year too. If he's great with the Wizards next year, you come to terms on a new deal after that. I don't mind that. AD wouldn't be happy, but I don't mind that.
Yeah, I'm sure AD would like to lock up that extension ASAP, of course. But I think, they're probably going to send him for the rest of the season, and he's going to come out and have a baller next season and probably decline that option. And at that point, if the team is good, he's healthy, all that stuff, I can see them paying him at that point. Yeah. But not prematurely is the key thing. Like this summer when he's eligible, they're not going to do it.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. The Clippers and Pacers I have As winners, maybe. Spoiler alert, they're also losers. Because we don't know what's going to happen, Donnie. The Pacers are effectively gambling their pick this year on a coin flip. There is a 48% chance that their pick falls 5 or later and goes to the Clippers. There is a 52% chance right now, it could get worse. 52% chance right now that the pick stays with the Pacers. How that coin toss goes, and it's not a literal coin toss, but that will ultimately determine whether each side is winner. If Indiana gets, I don't know, the second pick in the draft and they get AJ DeBonsa or something, or they get Darren Peterson or whatever, plus they add Ivica Zubac, plus you get Halliburton back, plus you've got all your wings that you already have and all that, and Pascal Siakam and everything, they could be right at the top of the East next season. And if that happens, the Pacers are a big winner. If they lose that pick, though, I guess they get to keep their 2031 pick, but that would hurt quite a bit. So the outcome of that statistical coin flip, it's going to matter a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, it can't be helped, right? They put themselves in that position, whereas before they wouldn't have had any chance to get this year's pick, correct? Without the trade from last season.
Oh, without the trade from the Pelicans? Yeah, correct.
So, I mean, you take what you can get. So hopefully they do get that. But otherwise, I think they're going to be fine regardless.
I think they're going to be there. I think getting the pick, keeping it, would give them the opportunity to be pushed over the top.
Yeah. That
you know what I mean?
I can see that.
Like, I think the immediate future of the Pacers will not be entirely dependent, but will be largely affected by the outcome of that pick. Now, imagine if they accidentally win a few games, though. Look at how close everything is. Mm-hmm. What if those odds go from a 52% chance to a 42% chance? You accidentally win 2 games and you cost yourself 10% chance at keeping your pick. No one is going to be more nervous on draft night than the Pacers, and no one is going to pull more shenanigans than to make sure they don't win games than the Pacers, the Washington Wizards, and the Utah Jazz, who are all in positions where they could either get their pick or completely lose it.
Yeah, I've had some brain fog and stuff like that this morning. Slept pretty crappy. I don't remember exactly where it came from, but I saw something early this morning about, I think, the GM of Indiana talking about this pick. Did you see that?
He tweeted like a popcorn emoji or something, like he's like, because it's gonna be peak drama. At the draft lottery, because it's all or nothing. You either getting an amazing player in a loaded draft or you're getting nothing for the Pacers this year.
Nah, he knows something.
Oh, the script has already been written?
He knows something.
Wow.
Oh, man. It's gonna come back number 1 overall.
Are you saying oh no? Are you saying it's rigged?
No. We've never seen that before.
No, never. I also, in a way, I would put the Lakers in the winner column just because the teams that could spend on Austin Reeves this summer, the Jazz, the Wizards, they spent their cap space. So I think it puts them in a stronger position to keep him. Though I think they were in a strong position to begin with. So I'm not necessarily worried about that. Let's get to the losers. There's more losers than winners. Maybe that's a sign. Losers, Warriors, all that.
Yeah.
All of that. Over what? A year of drama, fighting with Jonathan Kuminga all summer, and all you walked away with was Kristaps Porzingis. And I think Steph's, unless something dramatic happens this summer, Steph's title window is effectively closed.
You don't think a core of him, Draymond, Jimmy, Kristaps can do anything?
No. I don't think so. I don't think they make enough of a run. I think they needed to get in on Giannis. But, I mean, if Jimmy comes back healthy next year and Porzingis is healthy, and remember, Porzingis is a free agent this summer, so no guarantee he comes back next year. But this was a team that needed to do something right now to help Steph because the clock's ticking, and they were not able to do that.
Yeah, and those are some really big ifs, by the way.
Yeah.
Especially the Kristaps part. Like, setting aside the contract, he's never been able to be healthy. So, that's a pretty big if. So, yeah, I could agree with you. They absolutely needed to do something now. But it was, I'm going to just kind of separate these two things, the Kuminga stuff and the Giannis stuff. The Giannis stuff, like, I can't really be too mad at them because they
Sure.
tried as good as they could, right? The Bucks basically weren't really willing to trade him right now. Is what it all boils down to. And now there's been a lot of counter reporting. Oh, he never actually asked for a trade. Giannis is saying stars attract or whatever on his socials too. Like
So
it's
dumb.
it's interesting how that all went. But they couldn't get him, so they tried. But for Kuminga, yes, it does suck that they spent this entire time, just angling towards trying to trade him, and then along the way decided, hey, actually, why not just nuke whatever value he has, right, and just stop playing him altogether. And they had to trade him in that package at that point. Frankly, I'm surprised they didn't just bring him back.
I know there was a report out that Kuminga was actually surprised he got traded. Like after all that, how could you be surprised? But yeah, I mean, look, anytime you can take an asset that you've got, that you've invested into, and you can do things to actively destroy that player's trade value, you got to do it. You got to do that anytime you can. Like if you've got a player that you chose over another far more important player, and you can bring in somebody that fits horribly with that player to completely erase any kind of value they may have had, perceived or otherwise, you have to do that. I'm looking at you, Taylor Horton-Tucker and Russell Westbrook.
I was going to say, is that a THT thing?
That's a THT joke.
It sounded like a THT thing.
The Rockets very clearly needed an upgrade at point guard. There were point guards available on the market. They didn't get anything done. The Rockets, I've got them as a loser in this. They needed to do something. Their half-court offense is still a problem for them. They're a great offensive rebounding team, but they're very clearly a point guard away from being able to really, I think, make a run here. They're still going to be very good, still a hard out in the playoffs, but you needed to make a move. You needed to do something to add a setup player to your roster, and they were not capable of doing that. So I've got the Rockets as a loser here. The Clippers, Pacers, which one wins? If the Clippers don't get the Pacers pick this year and give up a great pick to the Thunder, that's tough. That's tough, especially when you lost to Ivica Zubac. Now, the value may still be fine because you got 2 picks, but if the Pacers get Darren Peterson and they're awesome for the next 6 years, that 29 and 31 first aren't looking so good. So there's a lot on the line here for the Clips too.
And then also Garland, are we sure 40 million annually is where you want him to be? Like, why? You've been setting up your books to reset this in a couple of years. Why did you randomly decide to invest in Garland long term?
Garland is a guy that, Darius Garland, the injuries are mounting, and I think there are already teams around the league who would have seen him as a negative value contract, or who do see him as a negative value contract. Now, he's 26. When he plays, he's very good. It's very possible that he outperforms that contract. That can happen too. I don't think everybody's totally out on him or anything like that. But, I mean, one more injury, and you've got some concerns, and then you've got extension eligibility this summer. What are you going to do with that if you're the Clippers?
Yeah, that's, to me, I think there's a lot of different variables here. I mean, the rest of their books I'm perfectly fine with. I just thought that was an interesting pivot, but remains to be seen what they have planned for their next iteration, if they have something lined up, and remains to be seen how everything else that happened with them in the offseason kind of shakes out and where they go from there.
Let's go here real quick to a super chat. Thank you. We appreciate it. So Chances Nurkic gets bought out, man. See, I'm so exhausted. I've lost the ability to speak. Yeah. Nurkic gets bought out. Could happen. He's been good for the Jazz, though. I mean, the Jazz, look, they're going to sit guys. They're not going to try to accidentally win a few games here or there. $19.3 million under contract. If he gets bought out, where does he go? Is there a team that's ready to bring him on immediately and is allowed to? Any team that's above the first apron would not be allowed to sign him off the buyout market. So it would be all below first apron teams. I do think somebody would be interested in him. So he's a name to keep an eye on. But I think from the Jazz, the more likely player to get bought out, and it's possible both of them are, but would be Kevin Love. Kevin Love, I think, is the more likely of the two to get bought out.
Yeah. So did you have the Jazz on your winners or losers?
I did not.
You didn't have them ranked at all?
No, I didn't, because I'm not totally sold on the Jaren. And I know they made one of the bigger moves. Mm-hmm. The Jaren Jackson Jr. thing could work. I don't want to put them as a loser, though, because Jaren Jackson and Walker Kessler together is interesting to me. The no-fly zone around the rim protection you would have, the rebounding that Kessler provides that Jaren Jackson does not, the three-point shooting Jackson provides. It's interesting. But that's a lot of money that you're committing because you turned down 2 first-round picks unprotected for Walker Kessler. That's saying that you were going to match any offer this summer, right? You cannot turn down 2 first-round picks and then watch them walk away this summer. So that's going to be a lot of money locked up on Markkanen, Jackson, and Walker Kessler. I don't mind the buying efforts here of the Utah Jazz, but there is a way where this goes poorly too, and we're looking at Jaren Jackson as a negative value contract as well. Mm-hmm. So until we see Kessler and Jaren Jackson together, I just have them as kind of an incomplete right now rather than a winner or a loser.
Yeah, I firstly, my first assessment here is that, man, they are going to play some jumbo ball because they got Markkanen, Jackson, obviously Kessler will be back, Filipowski, Ace is 6'9", another big dude there, Nurkic currently, but they're going to play some jumbo ball for the foreseeable future. How does all of that fit together? My second thought is you've got a lot of 2 timeline stuff going on here with guys that are entering or in the middle of their prime, like a Lowry and a Jaren Jackson. And then obviously you just got a top end pick at the end of or during last offseason in Ace Bailey. But is he able to get enough of a role on this team to develop the way that, they anticipated him being able to develop? I also wonder about that. I'd assume next season they're going to want to be competitive.
Yeah.
But if they're going to pay Walker, that is that's over $100 million a year in just your front court.
Yep. That's
a lot of money between those 3 guys. I think that's where this is also very tricky.
Now, Keontae George took a step forward this year and continues to do so. He's still on a cheap contract. That certainly helps. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what Utah does. I think one of the other things we talk about winners and losers for this season, Anthony Davis, Jaren Jackson Jr., Ivica Zubac, they all went to teams that, and AD is hurt, but Trae Young, they all went to teams that got them for next season that cannot play them this season, because if they do, then they're risking losing their draft pick. So it's interesting that the biggest buyers are also teams, and makes it a bizarre trade deadline. The biggest buyers were teams with protected first-round picks that cannot afford to win games right now.
Yeah, it's just really interesting. They're just going to tell all these guys, hey, got anything you need to rehab? just sit out. We got you. Don't worry about it. Right,
exactly. Did you stub your toe? Have a seat.
Yeah, seriously. Just we'll be back next year. You're already 2/3 done with the season almost. We're good. Don't worry about it.
Oh, the Wolves were supposed to be in the winner column. I put them in the loser column on accident.
I was going to say, I thought when we got to them, I thought getting Ayo was a really
that was a mistake. They were supposed to be in the winner column. I like them going and getting Ayo. Did they pay a lot for him? Yes, but I think he's a great long-term fit for them. They were not supposed to be in the loser column. That was my mistake there. I added them to the wrong list.
Yeah.
The Kings. I mean,
do we have to actually do this, or can we just?
Sorry, Kings. You didn't move off Sabonis. You didn't move off Zach LaVine. You still have DeMar DeRozan. You had a DeAndre Hunter, but you traded away Keon Ellis, who everybody wanted. You said you weren't going to use Keon Ellis to sweeten the deal on any trade in order to move salary. You said you wanted a first-round pick for Keon Ellis. Instead, you gave up a second-round pick plus Keon Ellis in order to sweeten the deal to get Dennis Schroeder off your books, who you just signed 6 months ago and said he was the guy that was going to help legitimize your franchise and carry you forward. That is awful. That is peak Kings right there. Now, maybe DeAndre Hunter winds up being a perfect fit with Keegan Murray, but guess what? We're probably not going to be able to find out this season because Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, and DeMar DeRozan are still around.
Yeah, I agree. I saw a tweet that went out yesterday, and I saved it. It says Scott Perry's trade deadline attached Keon Ellis to Dennis Schroeder to get off the contract he gave to Schroeder. Acquired DeAndre Hunter to make the Kings a luxury tax team while saving the Cavs $50 million. Sent a second-round pick to Chicago with Saric. Genius.
That's awful.
That is brutal, man. I didn't think they'd be able to get off those guys, and there were some reports that they're not going to buy anybody out, which I thought was interesting. But I didn't think they'd get off those guys. But if you're going to attach somebody, like you should have probably tried to attach Monk.
I'm sure they did, and team said no. But then okay, if you can't get off of Malik Monk's contract, then at least try to get draft capital for Keon Ellis instead of giving up capital.
Yeah.
They must really love DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's got to be what it is. It's that, or they're hoping that he'll have a nicer return, because I don't really see what the plan is with this roster. There is no plan. The plan is chaos.
The chat has Chicago as a loser. So
because
we're going
they never get any firsts back, because all they do is send them out for no first.
Kings to Kings East. Chicago. Yeah, they got no for. They traded Kobe White. They traded Ayo Dosunmu. They traded Nick Vucevic, and they got no first round picks back.
Yeah. Do you have that graphic I sent you? Go open that graphic I sent you on Twitter and put it on the thing.
Yeah, I'll grab it
in the DMs. It's too funny. but yeah, the Bulls just I do like kind of some of the stuff they got going on here. Anthony was pretty cool watching him play yesterday. He lit it up.
That was just a roll the ball out on the floor and go play, like, because they were out of players.
Yeah, he lit it up, man. Look at that. No first for any of these dudes.
No first round picks. How is that even possible? My God.
They traded all these guys away, man.
Well, teams are very hesitant to give up first round picks these days, but still.
Yeah. Even the younger ones, like the guards, like what's happening here?
You got no firsts for on any of these guys.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't have given up a first to get Vooch, though, and I get that. Like Ayo, though, Kobe White, you couldn't extract. Teams were not willing to give up first round picks. But my goodness.
But they're mad at this because just poor management, I guess.
Alex Caruso would probably go for multiple firsts right now, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would. Especially then. Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
That's why I'm not so mad at that one, though, because
Giddey's
they got
been
Giddey
fine.
back. Giddey's their cornerstone. I mean, he is one of a select few players that has averages of his averages.
Yep.
Like, he is really good. And so I'm not as mad at that. But if Caruso was on the open market, he's at least getting 2 firsts.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, isn't it crazy how that happened also once he left a certain spotlighted team? How everybody stopped thinking he was overrated and was like, oh, this guy's actually really good.
That's weird the way that happens.
Right.
I don't know why that is. Speaking of which, losers. I have the Lakers as a winner because teams with cap space spent their cap space, but the Lakers also a loser. They got Luke Kennard, which is fine. No issues with that move as long as he stays past this year. If it's another second round pick for half a season of a player, that's not good. That's Mo Bamba territory right there. But Lakers are losers because you've got LeBron, Luka, you've got Austin Reeves making $14 million. You're not in the serious contender tier, and nothing you did bumped you up to that tier. And when you have those guys on your roster and you're not a serious, legit contender, things have gone wrong. And I think that's what's happened here with that roster.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see them invest a little bit more in this team currently, with the eye towards pre-agency and getting guys that you could, have long-term. It doesn't mean go out and go get Wiggins or whatever and use your first if you don't want to do that because you don't think he fits long-term. That's fine. But it means try to find somebody. And I'm sure Rob probably tried. He just was unable to do so.
Right. Well, now going into the summer, they have to get it right.
Yeah.
They have to add the pieces they need.
That's a lot of work, a lot of turnover, and a lot of pressure for one off season also, right? He's got a lot of things to figure out, and this roster has 2 different avenues. It could look 80% the same with some other couples, changes, or it could look drastically different.
Yeah.
I don't know, because there's so many different moving parts here, so many free agents, etc. And one that I'm seeing get talked about more is Smart. I think people are forgetting that Smart is not technically making $5 million. He's still getting paid. And if you look at any metric valuation of him, he's being played, or he's performing like a guy that's worth more like to 15 to 20. So that's tricky.
You mean he's getting paid by Washington after getting bought out?
Yeah. So he's performing more like his actual salary would be if you just added it all together. So he's going to decline that and get a nice upgrade.
He could very well wind up declining that player option. I think we're heading more towards DeAndre Ayton picking up that player option, but we'll see.
God. Yeah, he got benched again. I'm not so mad at that though last night because Maxey was just really good.
Think about that though.
Yeah.
He got benched because Maxey Kleber outplayed him.
Well, it's because Maxey is more willing to do things Ayton isn't. He plays with a higher motor, and he's just flat out better at defense. It's weird. He's just flat out better at it.
And it's not like Ayton came in second in that race. Because the other option that we saw them go to was Jared Vanderbilt at the center.
Yeah.
So
because JJ also really likes that big switchy lineup with a bunch of guys that are like 6'5" or 6'6" to like 6'8", 6'9".
It worked.
Yeah, he likes that group. But Maxey was he's just better at and he's more willing to not have to take a shot every couple times down like Ayton wants to try to do, And some of that's just pedigree, right? Ayton was the number 1 overall pick, this and that. So he has a certain level of entitlement to him. But the problem is that this team doesn't need that. So
you're right. Yep. You're absolutely right. The Mavs I have as a loser. Not that this is necessarily the wrong decision for Dallas, but your net result of the Luka trade, not great. Not great. Now, if you want to keep Cooper Flag as part of it, if that's the way you're looking at it, then maybe it's a different story. Cooper Flag is awesome. Legitimately awesome. But I don't think you can really look at it that way. So what the Mavs ultimately got for Luka Doncic is this. Here's the return. A 2026 Thunder first. So that's going to be 30. A 2029 Lakers first. 2030 Warriors protected first. 3 second-round picks. Max Christie and a bunch of guys. Well, maybe A.J. Johnson sticks, but a bunch of guys who aren't going to stick.
Yeah. I see 3 firsts, 3 seconds, a blue chip guy, and a potential guy they hold on to.
And Max Christie's Max Christie. He tops out as a high level role player, right? He's not going to be a star.
He's my blue chip guy.
Yeah, he's your blue chip guy, but that's not even like blue chip might be.
Maybe.
So basically, it's Max Christie, 3 maybe okay first, and 3 seconds,
and Maxey Kleber contract.
And you got off of Maxey's contract.
No matter how you slice it up, divide it, explain it, it's still not enough.
And there's a chance that none of those firsts are better than 20th.
It's still not enough. I'm not so mad at the Mavs though, because they dealt with the hand that they had. They couldn't really do much else here, right?
Yeah.
They didn't want to extend AD. And they wanted to expedite their rebuild, and they clearly didn't feel like he was a part of the long-term future. And so while they sold him at an all-time low, they didn't really have much of a choice. So I can't really be mad at them here. And the Luka trade, to be fair on that, again, the optics of it don't look great when you lay it out like this, but this is not this season. It's not like they had Luka this season and all that stuff. And this was all in one. This is multiple seasons of trading. So I can't really be mad at that personally all too much. I think they did the best they could do, frankly.
Yeah. The Mavs, what they had there, just the net of the whole thing. Not ideal. Not ideal for the Mavs. Rough time. Now, but again, they got Cooper Flag. So that is a balm to.
That was always part of the plan.
Burn. What did he say? I think they're starting to see the vision. The vision was like a 2% chance is going to come through.
Yeah.
Oh, Nico.
See my earlier comments earlier on the Pacers. You know what's going to happen is the Bucks are going to land the number 1 over. No, they can only get number 2, huh?
Yeah, they're going
to get number 2 overall, and then Giannis is going to magically be gone.
All right, let's go to the Miami Heat, who were all in on Giannis and wound up doing nothing. Heat fans not happy with that. The Heat kind of sit in no man's land right now in the East. Not good enough to win, not bad enough to lose, and now they have to wait till the summer to try again for Giannis or another star. They have pursued and pursued and pursued star after star after star, and it's just not worked out for them. Maybe they get Giannis this summer, maybe it's somebody else. But for right now, doesn't feel great for Miami.
Yeah, I agree with you. They don't have access to the number 1 overall pick with swaps, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, so the Hawks get the better of the Pelicans or the Bucks pick. So the best the Bucks can get is number 2, because if the Pelicans pick goes number 1, the Hawks will take that. Or if the Bucks pick goes number 1, the Hawks would take that. And then Milwaukee gets whatever's left over. So the best they could get would be the second pick.
Yeah, because they effectively won't. they had it swapped out. So it is
yes.
what it is. So on the Heat, this is kind of getting concerning that they just year in and year out are doing this, where they're like, oh, there's a star. Let's try to trade for. Oh, we didn't get him. There's another. Oh, let's try to get him.
Take your talents to South Beach. Come on.
I saw another post on Pat Riley on X and all the different stars he chased. It was a long list. Some of them, like in hindsight, it's good he didn't, like Bradley Beal, for example. But there have been some guys that they've been trying, and I just wonder if they've got all their eggs in this star basket and if that's the right decision to make. So again, they're going to try again this summer, but what happens if you strike out again? You're just going to keep punting it down?
I mean, what's the alternative, I guess?
Yeah.
That's the challenge for the Miami. But Miami, it's not that they're in a terrible spot. They've got some interesting young talent and everything. They're just trying to make sure that they can make that home run move. But finding that home run move, I don't know, that may be difficult for them.
And they've got all their own picks. And if you get one of those guys, that devalues your picks also, which is an underrated thing that I don't think we talk about enough, is these teams taking back these picks that are going to be guaranteed to be bad if they give you a star level player. So.
All right, let's talk about the Detroit Pistons, my last loser, then we'll get into the buyout market. I've got the Detroit Pistons as a loser because of this, Donnie. Yes, you added shooting in Kevin Huerter. Maybe that helps. 24th in the NBA in three-point percentage. They are not a good shooting team, and I just don't think you can, when you're the number 1 seed in the East, you've got a shot. You've got a good shot, right? At least coming out of your conference. But you can't go into the playoffs with this kind of a deficiency. You just can't. You have to shore that up. And you took a guy that you drafted 5th overall just a few years ago, and you effectively salary dumped him. Yes, you got Kevin Huerter, but you took a guy that was 5th overall and you turned him into 2 expiring contracts. That's not an ideal scenario for the Pistons. I was hoping to see the Pistons wind up being a buyer on Michael Porter Jr., wind up being a buyer. Lauri Markkanen obviously wasn't available, but some other player to come in and add some shooting to this roster. And the Pistons instead said, no, Kevin Huerter, we're good with that. Yeah, I don't love what the Pistons did. I still think they have a shot at coming out of the East, but I wanted to see a more aggressive move to really try to put themselves over the top.
Yeah, I think that they're looking at it from the perspective of, we don't need to go all in on this year and use up all those assets and all that stuff and expedite our window when our core is young, our superstar is young. We've got a very long runway here. So I think they're just trying to take more of a cautious approach to it all. But I do agree with you. It would have been nice if they used, for example, Tobias as a vehicle to get back a player. That would have been good just to upgrade that position, right? But they didn't go for it, and maybe that's something they do try to do down the road. They do have some shooting on this team. Tobias can shoot it, Huerter can shoot it, Robinson can shoot it. Maybe it's more about just generating better looks for them overall. But when it gets into a playoff series, you're going to need these guys to knock down timely buckets, and hopefully they can do that.
I haven't seen it specifically, but I'm assuming that Pistons fans are frustrated at the price at which Vit Krejci went from Atlanta to Portland.
Yeah,
he would have been a nice fit. Like, just, that could be just an under the radar. You're not changing your future drastically, but a way to add shooting to this roster. Kevin Huerter could shoot a bit, and in that way he checks the box, I guess. But I wanted to see something a little bit more significant. Krejci and Huerter, something like that, right? Or go all in, go get an MPJ, something like that. Say, hey, we're gonna really be a force this year.
Are they a player on the buyout market?
Let me see where they're at in terms of, I believe they are.
Because maybe they could snag somebody like a Cam.
Yes, they are below the first apron. So that's an interesting idea. Could they get Cam Thomas?
Yeah. Does he even clear waivers? I kind of think he might just get claimed.
He might. We'll find out, I think, tomorrow if he clears waivers or not. But he might get claimed.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe they could pick up another guy that could be a shooter for them off the buyout market as well. But I mean, I agree with you with the sentiment. I would have thought MPJ would have fit really great there, right? And he could be a part of their core for the next few years at least. And that would have been, in my opinion, a worthwhile deal. But maybe they called and there wasn't something that was materializing with a amount of picks or something like that they thought was worthwhile for them. So maybe they'll just try again in the offseason. But yeah, with them being the number 1 seed in the East, and the way that they've performed so far, I would have liked to have seen them maybe invest a bit more. So I can agree. Maybe they just also don't really, I don't know. Do they actually believe they can get out of it, the entire thing, and win it all this year?
I mean, they're 4.5 games up in the East.
Yeah, but not the East, the entire. Do you think they could win the championship?
So you think they're looking across the way at the Thunder and saying we're not good enough to beat that team, so forget it?
I don't know if teams operate that way specifically, but you'd have to consider that.
I would not favor Detroit. Let's say it is. I would not favor Detroit over at least the top 3 in the West. And Houston's a maybe.
Yeah. And the only thing is, like I said, you'd have to consider it just, as a passing thought. That doesn't mean, though, that you don't invest further and give yourself the best shot possible, because it's not every year that you're able to be atop the standings.
Exactly.
And all that stuff and be in a position where you could potentially win it. You're in the mix, right? And all you can ask for is to be in the mix. And like the Pacers showed last year, anything is possible in a playoff series. To be honest, I don't think it's a hot take. I think they win that series if Halliburton doesn't go down.
Oh, you think the Pacers have a title? You think they win that game 7?
I absolutely do. The way they were playing, I thought they snatched momentum.
The way he started hitting those threes.
Yeah, he was talking shit.
That was one of the more gut-wrenching moments that we've seen in the NBA.
Yeah,
sure.
Just brutal. Worst possible time. Game 7 of the finals is insane. But you give yourself a chance, right?
All right, let's talk about that buyout market. I know a lot of people want to ask about it. We got some questions on it. Let's get into the buyout market and where things go from here. So the buyout market is now going to be picking up, and it already is. It's already starting. The buyout market is going to run now through March 1st. And that doesn't mean players are going to sign by March 1st, but players have to be bought out. If you're on a roster currently, you have to be bought out by March 1st or waived by March 1st in order to be eligible to participate in the playoffs for whichever team signs you. You could get waived after March 1st. You're just not allowed to play in the playoffs if a team signs you. So now, between now and March 1st is when you're going to see players get waived. Now, we've already seen a number of players shake loose from their teams. Here is a list that my pal Keith Smith for the Front Office Show put together. Lonzo Ball, Chris Boucher, Javon Carter. Now, some of these guys have committed, Carter's going to go to Orlando. Mike Conley is on the list. He's going back to the Wolves. But Pat Connaughton. So there's not a lot on this list, obviously, of true needle mover guys. But Haywood Highsmith has not played at all this year. But with how many teams are desperate for wings, and he's reportedly now ready to play or just about ready to play, there will be interest there. There is some talk that Portland is going to have to probably waive 2 players. It could be, I think it's going to be Ryan Rupert and Matisse Thybulle. I think if you are a team that is hunting on the buyout market, what you're hoping is that it's Rob Williams and Matisse Thybulle. But Matisse Thybulle and Rob Williams in either event could wind up being out there on the market. That has not happened yet. There's some reporting that it's going to, but we'll see ultimately where that goes. Cam Thomas, obviously, bought out. Will he clear waivers or not? We don't know, but there's some interesting names that are out there. Effectively, what you're looking for is a player who's on the last year of the salary, that is on a bad team, and is a veteran. And Keith put together a list as well of some players who could be bought out if they haven't been already. Kyle Anderson, Malachi Branham, Conley Connaughton, we talked about. Eric Gordon got bought out or is getting bought out. Haywood Highsmith, Isaac Jones, DeAndre Jordan, Kevin Love, Chris Middleton with the Mavs, George Niang, Chris Paul. Is the Raptors aren't even going to make him go to Canada. He just gets to stay home. Mason Plumlee, Dario Saric. So there's some names out there that are kind of interesting on the buyout market. Where do we think Cam Thomas winds up?
He's so, and I also did a video yesterday covering this, so make sure you check it out if you haven't, here on the bulletin. But he's so interesting to me among this group because he's very clearly someone that doesn't fit in. Like all these other guys are like older or things like that. And he's just kind of here as somebody that's trying to get paid. But I would also be cautious of that because there's a chance he comes in with the mindset it's make it or break it time, and he is just gunning and trying to earn his next contract. I'd be wary of that. In terms of where he lands, I don't know if a team, that is interested in him would claim him or not. But if he hits the open market where it's fair game, I think he could be a nice piece for a contending team that has a good defensive backbone because he's legitimately one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Statistically anyway. So a team with a good defensive backbone. So a team like Detroit we talked about earlier.
Sure.
But other than that, I don't exactly have an idea for him. I think that would be a good fit. And it's also hinges on whether or not he wants to go somewhere and try to get like a guaranteed 30 minutes a night, or is he going to be like their eighth man? That these types of things matter too.
So like this person said, New York, could he go to the New York Knicks?
Oh, that'd be good. He doesn't have to move.
He doesn't have to move. Yeah, right. Just goes across the hall, and there he goes. Now we look at we go look at. By the way, the Knicks picked up Jose Alvarado. I like that a lot for the Knicks. I should have put them in the winners. I liked Jose Alvarado. I know they didn't make the big move, but they're also above the first apron. That's fine though. He was only making $6 million, and they're hard capped at the second apron. $1.1 million below minimum salary would get them there for Cam Thomas. He'd be an interesting addition there. I think. You have to have a team that specifically needs a gunner off the bench, and you're going to be okay if he takes, 10 shots in quick order here, and you're just looking for that kind of firepower to come in. So, I don't know. It depends. Team chemistry is an important thing too, and when you have a guy that's going to be coming in there clearly gunning for his next contract, like he's going to want to get paid. It's going to take the right environment, I think, for Cam Thomas.
Literally and figuratively gunning for that next contract. he's gonna come out there shooting, man.
Oh no.
So as a Laker guy, what do you think about Cam?
I don't love it. I don't love it. I just don't think they need points off the bench right now. And people will point to, but they have the worst bench scoring in the NBA. Yeah, but they also never play their bench together. So you always have one. Now, Luka is hurt right now, but sounds like the prognosis is good. There's always at least one of Austin, LeBron, or Luka on the floor, if not two, that it's handling the scoring. You need guys who do all the other stuff. So I would be more in favor of a Haywood Highsmith, a Matisse Thybulle, someone like that, where if they hit, they make sense long-term for the team. I don't know that Cam Thomas fits that bill. And again, I worry about him coming out and just gunning while not being a good defensive player. Does that fix things for them? No, I don't think it's a step in the right direction.
My one thing with Cam is that with his scoring ability, because we're talking about him like he's the least efficient guy in the NBA too. He's not that, but this scoring ability though, he could absolutely flip a game on its head for you.
In either direction.
Yeah. he could win you a game is what I'm trying to say.
He could win you a game, but he can also lose you a game. But yes, you're right. He can get hot. He can get his shot off, and that's impressive. But when we look at now, he was been shooting on a bad team, 26th percentile among combo guards from three this season.
Yeah, that's not historically his numbers. So I'm not,
because it's all off the bounce. Yeah. It's all off the, he's not getting those spot up opportunities and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. So when people are like, "Oh, the buyout market list is underwhelming," like you're not going to see Kevin Durant sitting on the buyout market or something like that's not happening. What you're getting is guys who can maybe be somebody's like 10th man. And those guys can be important, but in most situations, guys that get acquired off the buyout market are not typically needle moving type pieces. That said, Highsmith is interesting. Matisse Thybulle is interesting. And Rob Williams, if he's on the right team, can absolutely be an impact player. But you've got the injury, and same thing with Matisse Thybulle, you've got the injury concerns. But if Rob Williams gets bought out, I think he becomes a really interesting player, especially like if I'm the Houston Rockets and I just lost Steven Adams and Rob Williams comes available, I would go hard after Rob Williams if I'm the Rockets.
Yeah. What do you, speaking of them, what do you think about Cam for them?
I think they need more of a, now he can score in the half court. He can just create something out of nothing. So in that way, it may be a fit. I think they need somebody who can more run the offense, but in a pinch that could work. Just saying, hey, it ain't gonna be pretty, but Cam, you can get a shot off. And if you miss it, we're getting tons of offensive rebounds anyway. So it may be a fit there.
Yeah. Somebody brought up Cam's true shooting, so I just did some digging.
Yeah.
He's shooting 53% this season. But historically for his career, he's right on the average, which is 57. So I think that's pretty interesting overall.
Okay. So is he just having a poor shooting season then?
Well, yeah, he's definitely not having a good season. And it's been kind of volatile for him anyway, in terms of the amount of minutes he's playing, games he's playing in, etc. But yeah, he's down.
He's in the 7th percentile at the rim this season.
Yeah, it's just he's shooting 40% even from the field, 32 on threes on 5 attempts per game. Like it's not, but his difficulty is through the roof on these shots. If he could just cut the fat, I think he'd be really good. But regardless, that says nothing for the defensive side. Can you show his defense here? I'm curious.
Just the on-off.
just the on-off for his defense.
He gives up. He's in the 12th percentile. He gives up almost 7 points more per 100 possessions for the Nets when he's on the floor than off.
But look at his whole career, though.
It's been awful.
It's always.
It's awful.
He almost profiles as a guy that's going to just be a net neutral because he's so bad on defense.
He's so bad on defense. It completely wipes out his offense.
Yeah, that's interesting. This is why they didn't want to pay him the 35 or whatever he wanted last offseason.
Yeah. Well, and that's why the counting stat, like Cam is one of those counting stats guys that you go, oh, damn, this guy's putting up 15 a night. He must be pretty good. There's more to basketball than just scoring. And the other areas, that's where he struggles.
But Cam is Bag Twitter's one of their favorites.
Is he?
The damn the analytics, that crowd.
Just go get buckets.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He's one of those cut from the same cloth.
Man.
But I mean, in all seriousness, though, yeah, he's got very clear deficiencies. But I do think a team with a good defense could use him. But I think his ultimate role in the NBA is just going to be a 20 to 25 minute a night 6 man, and that's it.
Yeah, and he wanted to take this season and prove that's not what he is, and he's a starter in this league. And I credit him for attempting. But the more we've seen of him, the more I'm like, yep, he's a super 6-man microwave scorer off the bench kind of guy if he can get more efficient.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of the other buyout guys, I mean, there's not really a lot of guys that are all that interesting. Yeah. I'm more intrigued by, Highsmith potentially, but he needs time to round into form as he hasn't played, this season yet. I'm more, with the ideal or with the possible ones like a Thybulle, but it just depends on your team, right? What their need is individually.
Right. Highsmith, Thybulle, if Kevin Love gets bought out, he could wind up being an interesting piece somewhere. What about Chris Paul? Where does he land?
Yeah, that's
does Chris Paul's career
there it is. Go to, put him on Houston. Go back. Go to return. Houston. Perfect. He's exactly what you're asking for. Give him 15 minutes a night. He could do it.
And just as a game manager.
Last season he did it for San Antonio.
True.
Like I don't think he was as washed as he looked this season. I mean, I don't think he's crisp. I think he's washed. I just don't think he's that washed. He looked really bad this season. And some of that was just his pairing with Brook Lopez. If you dig into their analytics, that was a brutal pairing. And Brook looks better once they got split up as a result. Brook looks playable again, right? But
so it was Chris Paul's fault.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's just the pairing together sucked. But if you split them, whose fault it is Ty Lue's fault, really.
Ty Lue.
He was sabotaging Chris Paul, man. He didn't like him anyway.
He's too outspoken.
That actually is a legit thing. He was too outspoken. They didn't like him at all. But I think you could. I'm not saying that he's going to again be a star guard or anything like that. Those days are past. But in a 15-minute a night role, I don't see why he can't be a game manager for you.
All right, let's get into before we get further into the buyout market, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Sleeper. You guys have heard us talk about Sleeper before. They do a wonderful job with the Sleeper app. You can use the link in the description down below. Use our code Bulletin to get a $100 deposit match up to $100. The big game coming up this weekend, Ken Walker. I'm going with him. Ramondre Stevenson. It's going to be Travion Henderson. That's what I'm saying. On Super Bowl Sunday. Travion is so fast. Go check it out. Use the Sleeper app. It's super easy to make your picks. All you have to do is pick more or less on your favorite players. And obviously plenty of NBA picks that you can make as well. So go check out Sleeper. Use the link in the description down below. $100 deposit match up to $100 when you use our code Bulletin. All right, everybody. Let's wrap up here. Cam Thomas gets the crowd in the game.
Then he needs to go to LA.
To wake up the crowd.
Dude, it's insane how much crowd pop they get in road arenas compared to home. Like it's actually insane. At home, maybe that's why they perform better on road, because at home it's a silent game, man. I don't know.
That's it. It's the too cool LA crowd. It's because it costs so much to get into the game.
Yeah.
That the diehards that would go and make noise, they can't afford it.
Yeah. All through those 20,000 seats, all of them.
Yeah.
Even all the way up into bleeds. Those are the rich people. They have you know what it is? They've got a policy at the door, a noise meter. If you exceed a certain amount of noise, you're getting kicked out.
They enjoy their peace and quiet.
Yeah. Because it's insane, man. Especially like in Brooklyn, they were going crazy for the Lakers.
Somebody asked, why is it called Sleeper? If you've played fantasy sports, a sleeper is a player that you identify that you think other players are lower on or not paying enough attention to, that you think is going to have outsized production that season. And Sleeper has a really good fantasy sports portion of their app as well. I've got a couple of teams on there, but that's where the term Sleeper comes from.
Yeah. Last night they were good, but specifically when Reeves returned. They were
well, when you get a player going berserk and doing extraordinary things, that's going to get a crowd response. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Need Cam.
Need Cam. But they'll respond in either way, right? They will be positive. Or remember the crowd yelling no when Russell Westbrook got the ball?
Oh, yeah. They were like, no. Dude is wide open in the corner. That's insane. I've never seen that before. And they would audibly sigh when he would do things.
Oh, man.
It was bad.
That was rough. Why no talk on Lonzo? So Lonzo is more name than game at this point.
Yeah.
He's just been so hurt. Like, I would love to see him land somewhere and find success. That would be great. But he's been so hurt that I think it's really taken a lot away.
Yeah, I covered him in the video from yesterday, and really when you look at his metrics, he still grades out as a good defender. He's always been a positive defender his entire career. All of his shots are threes at this point, and as a result his efficiency is terrible. And then the only thing he gives you on offense is playmaking in terms of passing, and that's it. There's nothing else really there.
Yeah,
he's basically a one-way player that can get out and transition and pass the ball. That's it.
It's and the defense hasn't been what it was.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Unfortunate with what we've seen from Lonzo. I hope that he does get back to that form. But I think it might just be it. I honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing him
in Charlotte.
In Charlotte with his brother.
Yeah, I think this may be his last contract, so it would be cool if he ended it that way.
Yep.
Just the way he's playing, maybe he'll have another chance, but it's kind of hard because this is already his second chance. So.
Yeah, it's just not gone the way that he that it needs to.
He was better last year, though. In the limited,
it seemed like it, didn't it? Yeah. Let me see. I'm pulling his numbers right now.
Yeah, he was performing better last season.
I would like to see him go somewhere. Just ideally go to Charlotte. But you look at last season, 35 games, shot 37% from the field and 34% from three. Like that's not good, but it's not awful either. It's not what he's been this year, where he's 30% from the field, 27% from three. The Cavs haven't been able to put him on the floor. We thought it was a good move for the Cavs to get him because we thought he was going to build upon that last year, and instead he's gone the other way.
Yeah, and his shot, he really developed it out after his second year, but it's not been able to come back. That's huge. He's shooting 4 a game, and he's shooting 27% this season. Like, that's just not good. He got to a point where he was shooting 8 a night and hitting 38% of those. 42% on 7 attempts. Like, this guy couldn't shoot the ball to save his life, and he worked on it and was able to do it. But now that's left him too. So that's where most of his shots come from, which is why the aggregate field goal percentage is low. But yeah, if he can't shoot, he's not really anything else he can do out there on offense.
Yep. Unfortunate.
But hey, if you want a secondary playmaker that can defend a bit, be switchy a bit with good size, there you go.
But if he can't shoot, he's not going to get defended.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You're going to leave him wide open. Look, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be like Kendall Marshall, except he's bigger.
Kendall Marshall. Wow. That's a throwback.
They used to leave him wide open.
Remember the lefty moves he would pull off out there?
He was a fun watch. or let's say smaller Ben Simmons. How about that?
Smaller, but oh man.
Hey, at least Lonzo will shoot it. Ben wouldn't shoot that.
Lonzo will shoot it. Yeah, Ben Simmons. Weird, man. Yeah. Weird stuff with Ben Simmons. Although now we're getting kind of there with Amin Thompson.
I was going to say,
like they're running away from him, and he's not taking shots.
I've been seeing a lot of Amin Ben Thompson comparisons over the last 24 hours, especially. They're starting to get really loud.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to develop that part of his game.
100%. He's going to have to. All right, everybody. Think we're going to wrap things up there. I've got people talking about Dalton Connect in the chat. He didn't move. I'd say they better send him to Summer League again. If he's still on the team.
Yeah.
Like usually third year guys don't go to Summer League. No, go to Summer League, dude.
Can this guy at least just play in the G League? What is he sitting on the bench for?
He would put up numbers in the G League. He'd put up big numbers.
Yeah, well, let him go play. Like, why is he just sitting on his freaking bench? So
he played last night
for 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
What's the point? Hey, he had 2 points in those 3 minutes. What's that per 30?
And he dribbled the ball off his knee and out of bounds.
Oh yeah, he did. It got knocked off out of his
hand.
Yeah, well, I mean, freaking send the guy to the G League. I don't know, but JJ isn't really trying to give these guys extended run anyway. So
it tells me that nobody would take him for $4.2 million next year.
Yeah, if they couldn't get off him at that number,
not good. Not good. All right, everybody. Appreciate all of you. He's going to be in Summer League until he turns 40. Wasn't that Kenneth Fareed, who was like 29 and came back and played in Summer League?
Yeah.
That was a few years ago.
Buffkin is better than DK. Maybe.
All right, everybody. It's been a day.
Luka reported out.
Appreciate all of you. The Luka report, the McMenamin had that a while ago.
Oh, okay.
I don't see anything new there, but McMenamin had that a while ago that Luka was looks like doubtful for tomorrow against the Warriors, but they believe he avoided long-term injury. So that's great. Until you're 90. Yes. Take that, Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman, what are you doing, by the way? That guy pisses me off so much. Don't even get me started on Hugh Jackman. Because, like, you're Wolverine. Why would you want to go be Neil effing Diamond? You can be Wolverine. Just be Wolverine. What are you thinking?
It's hard for an old man to maintain that physique. That's the problem.
Okay, but be something else cool then.
Okay.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
The Greatest Showman and stuff. You're Wolverine, man.
Shows you where his interests truly lie.
God. So dumb. I get it. Acting and all of that. Woo.
Yeah,
I get it. I want to spread my wings as a performer. I want to show my range, all of those things. No, you get to be a badass. Just go be a badass.
Yep. Guess what? He's not going to go rest now either.
That's right. No, now I take my daughter to a birthday party. All right, everybody. Yes, I'm at that point now where I've lost it. I have indeed officially lost it. Sleep deprivation has won. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I appreciate all of you. Until next time. See ya. Stay safe. Hit subscribe too. Don't forget.